Just a moment of silence for the Carabao Cup. Anyway, City are out of the Carabao Cup, unfortunately. Hello, fellow treble winners. It's over. The Carabao Cup dream. We had to win it so many times in a row, then we had to just give it up forever, didn't we? City are out 1-0 loss, unfortunately, at the hands of Newcastle United. And as the title of this video said, as expected, sadly, really. I mean, it was sort of what we expected, what I personally expected. I can't remember the last time I absolutely predicted a loss, but I did. I did on this last night on the preview. I did actually predict a loss for the first time in ages, and I thought this was going to go. And it was a weird game of football. I actually think there's an awful lot to dive into this game of football, so you have to be patient as we go through it piece by piece, and we try and try and work out what was going on, because there was so much going on. We will try and get through it. But it's strange because you can't really talk about this game without talking about the narrative and the context behind this game immediately, Pep made it very obvious many times that he didn't really see this as a competition worth, taking seriously right now, given the context of Manchester City's season. And I watched his interview as well, post-game. I watched that before I went live, now. Pep did not care one tiny bit about tonight. He didn't. So everything we say about the performance in general, we need to cover it in this Pep veil of indifference, because that is the situation that we're facing right here. Honestly, he just didn't care. He didn't care one bit about this performance, to the point where he felt almost disingenuous in the post-match interview, just sort of flippant, actually, if anything. And it was a weird game of football for that. Still, it doesn't mean there isn't stories to learn from it, If we look at the team, how we started, of course, tonight, how the game actually started. This was the lineup that we played. As you can see there, a Tega in goal. We basically played with the back three of Nathan Ake, Josko Vardiel, and Manuel Akanji. Rico, of course, was playing as a right back when we were defending, but he was often alongside Calvin Phillips in a double pivot, with Mateo Kovacic pushing up, often alongside Oscar Bobb, who played as a number 10. Sergio Gomez played on the right wing, and Jack Grealish played as a left behind Julian Alvarez. It was an interesting formation, sort of something that no one I saw predicted. Sergio Gomez on the right, Rico Lewis in midfield, Oscar Bobb as a 10. I didn't see that coming. I just didn't see it coming. Even when we saw the lineup, I still didn't guess it. And actually, but to be honest, in the first half, we weren't that bad. We genuinely weren't that bad. We've got to be fair, and say the football in the first half, it wasn't necessarily incisive, but it was quite nice at times. It was. The football was actually okay. We were the better team in that first half. We kept all the ball. We had a couple of half chances. Alvarez had one pretty decent chance, a couple of decent chances actually. But actually, it was actually all right in that first half, Second half, they changed it. Anthony Gordon came on. Bruno G came on for them as well. That momentum that they got from that, St. James's Park started rocking. They got the goal after some good football from Joe Linton. And after that, we couldn't really find a way back into it. Pep made a whole host of changes. Doku came on, Foden came on, Nunes came on. Who else came on? I think there was more than that as well. Let me double check. Who else came on? I think it was just those three actually: Nunes, Doku, and Foden. And even though there was some spark that came from it, nothing really changed. We couldn't really find any rhythm there, And this is where we're at with it. Overall, it was a weird game of football. I still think it's weird because obviously the narrative around the games were about Calvin Phillips. It was about, how many changes we'll make. Will we throw the game? Does Pep care? All that kind of stuff. And we need to talk about individual narratives. Now, the first one, the obvious talking point is unfortunately, we've got to talk about Calvin Phillips. Calvin Phillips is the man in the spotlight. He talked about it being a big week for him. And I thought Calvin was all right. He was okay. It was fine. If you want me to sit here and say he was terrible, I can't do that. He wasn't terrible. If you want me to sit here and say he was great, I can't do that either. He wasn't great. He was okay. He was absolutely fine. He existed. He certainly existed like a cloud in the sky. That's what it's. That guy was just there. He was there. He was there. He was there. He was fine. He was there. He was an NPC, and I don't think we can blame him for anything, Like the thing is, I'm not going to sit here and have a go at Calvin Phillips. I don't think he had a bad game. I think my honest assessment of his game is that he had a couple of mistakes early on where he got beaten, dribble pass, and he had a sloppy pass. But then actually, he sort of actually, he found his way into the game. He played a really nice ball. He played a really nice pass through to Oscar Bobb, which went to Alvarez, which created a chance. He also played a really nice free ball to Jack Grealish, which was genuinely good, man. It was good. Then the second half, as soon as Bruno G came on, I thought he lost control of the game a little bit. He lost control of the game a bit, and Bruno G was obviously much better. The midfield of Joe Linton, Bruno G, was just too much for him. It was just a bit too much for him. He had a couple of... I don't really blame him for the goal, for what it's worth, Like I don't blame him for the goal whatsoever. I think actually that was Josko Vardiol's poor pass. I think Calvin Phillips was looking over his shoulder, scanning as soon as Josko made the pass, and he didn't. It wasn't. I can't blame him for that. People, I want to be fair. I want to be fair on this channel, and I think that's the thing to do. Like blame him if he doesn't play well and makes a mistake, but don't blame him for something that's not. And I saw everyone as soon as the goal went in, starting immediately saying get Phillips off. I was like, that's not fair, man. That's not fair. He did nothing wrong there. If anything, for the goal, the biggest mistake was probably Rico Lewis. He got his feet tied up and didn't clear the ball. But overall, my conclusion about Calvin Phillips, did he do enough to change anything? No, he didn't. Was he terrible? No, he wasn't. Has he changed anything? No. Is he going to be involved in any Premier League games unless we really have to start him? No. It's going to be Nunes at the weekend and Kovacic. We know that. He's not going to play against Brighton or Arsenal or anyone like that. Unfortunately, it's just not happened, It's just not happened for Calvin Phillips. And he didn't have a bad game. He didn't have a bad game. He didn't have a good game. But he didn't change anything. He had to be brilliant. But at the same time, it's... it's just not going to happen for him. That's where we're at. That is my honest assessment there. And I think Pep wouldn't have changed his thought. I think he's a decent footballer. Is he a good Manchester City player? Probably not. Is he a good footballer? Maybe for someone else. But as a Manchester City player, no. And I think Kovacic alongside him sort of highlighted that. Kovacic didn't have a great game, by the way, Kovacic. I'm not going to sit and pretend he did. But he was so much more comfortable in the flow of the game, And actually, look at his stats there, Calvin Phillips, by the way. 100 accurate passes, 91%, 100 complete passes, by the way, 91% accuracy. He's actually pretty decent. I can't deny that. He had a couple of, one thing I would say is that his ground duels are really bad. He only won 3 out of 11. He needs to be stronger. He won none of his aerial duels, lost possession 15 times, gave away 3 fouls, and got he needs to be better than that defensively. It was just okay. A 6.6 is probably accurate. Kovacic alongside him is fine. I need to talk about the next narrative of this game. I need to talk about Oscar Bobb. Oscar making his first full start at St. James's Park, playing as a number 10, such a responsible position. But Oscar Bobb showed that this is a very talented footballer. Oscar Bobb has wonderful feet. That man could unpick a lock. Surrounded by pick a lock that's moving around at 100 miles an hour, man. That man could dribble out of a phone box. Like, he's got incredible technical ability. The amount of times the ball came to him and he was surrounded by 2 Newcastle players and a little shift, the ball to one foot to the other, and he was just past the player. Lovely stuff. I'm not saying get a 10 out of 10 performance, but the context is so encouraging, man. Like, key passes, 2 key passes. He still probably could have done a little bit better. He definitely quieted in the second half. He did quiet in the second half, but that is fine. City quieted in the second half too, and that's fine. Guys, by the way, 13 likes, 200 people watching. Come on, man. Even if you don't appreciate City's score, you can appreciate the content that I'm putting out. You can help support a City fan here and get the likes up, because I think I'm doing a pretty fair summation of the game so far. But Oscar Bobb showed that he belongs as a Manchester City player. He has talent. He does beat a man. He's got a little bit of skill. He's got a little bit of magic. I like his game, man. I like what I see from Oscar Bobb, and he's got a lot of technical ability. He has it. He is that guy. He has the technical ability. He has the strength. He has the turn of pace. Sorry, he's not fully there yet, but I like it as well. And I thought Sergio Gomez had, he had a couple of nice little moments. I don't think he had a great game down the right, and but he did all right. He had a couple of nice little link-up plays with Oscar Bobb. He had a decent little cameo, And man, he's been asked to play in a billion different positions. And we need to talk very quickly, by the way, how hard it is. How hard it is for some of these players to come in. We sit here and we draw conclusions, and I'm aware of the irony of that. I'm doing that right now. But we sit here and draw conclusions about players who don't play any football. We don't play. They don't play any football. You look at that team. Sergio Gomez is playing as a right winger there for the first ever time for Manchester City. Oscar Bobb is making his first ever start as a number 10. First time he's played there for City. Rico Lewis making probably his second start of the season. You know what I mean? Like, Calvin Phillips, his first start of the season. Jack Grealish back from injury. Kovacic back from injury. It's it's just weird because these games are so difficult. Alvarez playing as a striker probably for the first time this season. He's been playing as a 10. So you need to look at it. It's a really weird thing to judge because we try and make these conclusions about players, and I'm really trying to not do that. But you've also got to give them the benefit of the doubt. It's like I've just talked about Phillips saying he was okay, but it's weird because he doesn't play football. But then we expect him to be 10 out of 10. He's in a catch-22 situation. He doesn't get the games to get better if he can, but he has to be judged immediately because we need to know if he can do it. It's difficult for him. So I need to add that caveat around my assessment of the game. But still, it's hard not to make the conclusions based off what you see. Rico, I thought, had a nice little game. The stats haven't done him good there, but I thought he was smart. He shuttled around. He was decent. He was okay. Defensively, by the way, Ake, Vjosko, Akanji, they were all pretty good, Vjosko in particular, I thought had a real touch of classiness to his game defensively tonight. Nathan, captain of the team, was lovely to see. The next narrative that everyone wants to talk about is about Jack Grealish. Now, look, let's be honest. Let's be fair here, Let's be fair here. Like, Jack Grealish has been injured. He has been injured, He has been injured, and he has been out. It's his first game back. I'm not saying he played well, but look, Jack Grealish starts slowly. He seems to start slowly, and he started slowly. The thing is, I am not going to judge Jack's performance. I don't think he played particularly well tonight, but what I will say, a fair conclusion is, that man. I don't feel the need to slander a player, but I do feel the need to lift another player up. That's what I will say. Like, he started slow this season, but he didn't play well today. He's been injured. But I almost sort of don't care about that. I don't care about Jack Grealish to the extent where I more want to talk about why I feel like Jack, we're in a great situation right now because Jack he has to get better because Jeremy Doku exists. Jack tonight, you couldn't really do much, He couldn't really create much, and he struggled to sort of like find his rhythm in the game. He didn't really once go outside, and I can't deny it. I can't deny it, really. When you watch Doku come on and go past the person and create so much in such a short period of time, Jack, mate, if I'm getting real, you're going to have to do that. I will admit you need a bit of time to get your form back. You need a little bit of time to get your focus back. It's fine. Not everyone starts a season, he's been injured. Not everyone starts a season quickly. That is just absolutely fine. But at the same time, what I will say is he's got a fight on his hands. He has, because this man, Jeremy Doku, who came on. Like, I'm gonna bring up his stats right now from that game. That man is the real deal, man. That man is the real deal. Like, he had 5 attempted dribbles immediately. He had 17 touches, 1 key pass, 1 good cross as well. He was drifting inside. He was running at people. That score seems a bit unfair for his impact. These stat scores, I don't know how they always work, but what I do know is that he created a little bit of chaos. And look, I don't feel the need to criticise Jack Grealish to praise Jeremy Doku. Grealish didn't play well tonight, but Doku was exciting. And that's good, man. It's good. It's a win-win for us. Either Jack rises to the challenge or Doku plays. We can't lose here. I don't think it's worth getting stressed over. I don't think it is, I think Jack has to do better. He's not stupid. He knows that. He knows that. Yeah, but does he? Doesn't. Like, I don't think it's not like he's keeping Doku out of the team. So I don't feel any reason to pile in on Jack Grealish right now. And you shouldn't either. Just be like, Jack, mate, you're gonna have to be better. You know what I mean? You're gonna have to be better. And that's all it is. But other than that, Jack got a run out. Kovacic got a run out. I'm happy about that. Oscar Bobb played well. Rico Lewis played decent. And it's really obvious as well that even Mateus Nunes, when he came on, he had a nice little cameo. Nunes came on. Nunes, look, he made things happen. He had a little 20-odd minute run out. A key pass there early on for Nunes as well. A couple of good runs in behind. A good little cameo from Mateus Nunes. Look, that's there was a few reasons to be okay. We weren't bad. I thought we would have been much worse tonight than we were, I'm trying to be fair here, I don't think we had a shocking game. I think we did show, of course, that we haven't really got the depth. We only have Micah Hamilton on the bench from the academy. We have to play certain players. I think it's really obvious, by the way, that Pep made some sort of like, he sort of conceded some substitutions to make to just sort of go for it a little bit. But he didn't bring Ruben Diaz on. He didn't bring Kyle Walker on. He did Haaland on. Some players that you think maybe, if we were really chasing it, Haaland could have come on. He didn't go for it. We didn't create much. But overall, it's as expected. I am a little disappointed for Ortega, actually, because Ortega's, my mates tweeted this, actually. Ortega's a great keeper. You know, he's a cracking keeper, Ortega. And that's one of his sets of games gone, you know, like, it's crazy, you know. It's crazy that, you know, a guy that good is barely going to play much, you know. But that's a shame. It's a shame Ortega's not going to play much. But overall, if we be real for a second, this competition just didn't matter tonight. I hate to say that. I'm a big Carabao Cup fan, but you can tell by Pep's very flippant post-match comments that he just didn't care. He didn't care for this game of football. And I sort of wish he did a little bit, but I get it. The fact of the matter remains is that if City had progressed through and got to, say, the quarterfinals apparently are scheduled one day before the Club World Cup starts. We would have had to have done Liverpool and just left no one there, played just the under-18s, lost anyway, gone out. Sort of to the point is where this game may have not even happened. I guarantee Pep could have chose not to play this game tonight and just fully gone out. He would have done that anyway. So it's a really weird situation where I don't think he was sending a message, as someone said in the chat to Carl. No, I think actually, Nerland, it doesn't. Do you know what, Nerland? Do you know what Pep's own comments were about this game? Pep said, he absolutely said, I won't waste 1% of energy on the Carabao Cup. That is an exact quote from Pep Guardiola. He backtracked later when someone called out him because he didn't look disrespectful, but he said he won't waste 1% of energy. Look, we haven't got an entire academy team, Brian. That is the point I'm making, mate. We don't. They played last night. We've only got under 18. He's not going to fully throw it. He's not going to play literally under 18s because it's not even fair. They are kids. Like they are, we've only got 17-year-olds. He's not going to just humiliate a bunch of 17-year-olds. That is it. You know, like that. Pep himself said it. Watch his actual press conference. He didn't care. Either way, we are out. The competition doesn't matter what we all think right now. It was a weird night. It wasn't a terrible night. But it wasn't a good night. You know, it was sort of, sadly, as I expected it to be. Guys, that is my thought. To summarize, I don't think anyone had a stinker. Just no one had a great game, you know. Oscar should be happy with his night. Stefan Ortega should be, you know. Calvin, he was okay, man. You're all right, Calvin. You're fine, you know. Did he have a bad game? No. Did he have a good game? He's just there, and he was there. He was there. That's okay. You know, this is a great quote from Guardiola. We were there. You know what I mean? We were there indeed. Great quote, by the way, from Guardiola. If you think the title was treble, we are more than happy with the treble. Indeed. Guys, subscribe, like in a bit. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow.